to see this sea of yellow and blue. It's a beautiful sight. Brothers and sisters, I greet you and I welcome you to this wonderful community of potters and the St. George's constituency. Brothers and sisters, it is my pleasure to welcome you on this very important occasion, the occasion that we have all been waiting for. And when the Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda moves that date from his side pocket to his breast pocket or his shirt pocket, you know that is when they start to tremble. Because the United Progressive Party will be returned to office for a third consecutive year. Brothers and sisters, Potters is a special community for me. Potters has a special place in my heart because when I started out in 2004, you, the people of Potters, decided that you would make sure that this little girl whose navel string was buried in your Winthrops would beat Guy Yearwood in every single box in Potters. And in 2009, you, the wonderful people of Potters, you decided that you wanted to go with someone who was genuine and authentic. And again, in 2009, I beat the Judas in every single box in Potters. And you may ask why this is so. You may want to ask why this is so. The answer is simple. The people of this community, they wanted an honest representative. They wanted a trustworthy leader. They wanted a loyal leader. They wanted a competent leader. And most of all, they wanted a God-fearing leader. And so, as my friend up on Potter's Hill, Mr. Joseph, who lived for the past 50 years in England, would call them, those two blokes. Those two blokes. They were rejected by you, the people of this community, because the people of this community know that the United Progressive Party is good for Antigua and Barbuda. And brothers and sisters, when the Prime Minister announces E-Day, the people of Potters have said to me, we're going to do it again. We're going to make sure that this United Progressive Party and Jacqui, Quinn, Leandro will get a third term in office. Brothers and sisters, we have a proven track record in this community. I don't come to you, the people of this community, without a track record of achievement. This very field that we are standing on, when I got into office, I made sure that this field was properly upgraded, that they put floodlights on the field, that the field was properly fenced, because all those talented footballers and cricketers and sports enthusiasts should be able to use this field every afternoon. Then we look at the Potter School. When I was elected, Potter School was a thoroughfare. People used to walk in and out of the school compound, goats and sheep and cattle running up and down in the school compound. We fenced Potter's School. And you know, my friend Dalso, I encouraging him, you know. Do your thing, Dalso. But Dalso like to go around and say, oh, Jacqui don't do anything. Sit tonight, Dalso, and learn. Sit tonight and learn what the people of this community have benefited from in terms of good representation. The infrastructure in this constituency easily would be categorized as the worst in the country. Roads, the road that leads from the dairy, right, what you call Potter's Main Road or Dairy Road. We made sure that that road was properly fixed through Public Works. The road that leads from the clinic all the way to Berlin, we put in a concrete road. People don't remember because they're driving now on good road. But that was done under my stewardship because that road was like a worry board. But more than that, roads in Barnes Hill, in Carlisle, in Cedar Valley Gardens, in New Winthrops, in Powell's, in Painters, we have revolutionized the infrastructure in this community. Brothers and sisters, the children of Potters now have the school meals program. You know, when I move around this community, canvassing in this community, it is the little children, the little primary school children who come up to me and their parents and hug me and kiss me and said, thank you for the school meals program. We're now eating our carrots and our broccoli and our everything. Everything. Clean up the plate. You hear? Clean up the plate. The number of young people that we have been able to employ, the number of young people in this community who have benefited from the scholarship program started by this government. Brothers and sisters, I want to share with you from this very community of St. George, we have one of the first graduates out of China, and his name is Dashiell Bright, and I believe Mr. Bright is here tonight. Dashiell Bright speaks fluent Mandarin, and Dashiell Bright is one of the first graduates. He is now working up at the airport as a translator. And more than that, in September of this year, Dashiell Bright will be going back to China to do his master's degree in electrical engineering and automation. That is the track record of the United Progressive Party. We have been the empowerment government. We have been the education government. And the young people of this country know that when they are educated, the United Progressive Party never called them nuff and edge up. We want them to be nuff and edge up because they are the future of Antigua and Barbuda. They are the ones who will develop this country. So young people, when the Labour Party telling you all, because you have your education and you get your scholarships, that you're nuff and edge up, come in, nuff and edge up with our way. Brothers and sisters, I want to tell you this. Potters is next in line for the free public free schools. You know, this United Progressive Party government, led by Baldwin Spencer, has invested in early childhood education. And we opened preschools in Johnson's, in Villa, and in Green Bay. And come September 2014, when you, the people of this country, give us the third term in office, Potter's School will be the next free public preschool. Potter's people, let me hear you. Then we're talking about the completion of the Barnes Hill Clinic. You know, that project languished for a time. But upon completion, the Barnes Hill Clinic will be one of the first-class clinics in this country to serve the communities of Barnes Hill, New Winthrops, Carlisle, and Powells. And one of the things that I have insisted upon is that they have extended hours so that persons who are working after 4:30 can use the clinic after hours. In addition, staying with healthcare, there are 2 clinics that I have applied. I've spoken to the Minister of Health and I've written to the Medical Benefits Board. We are going to be putting pharmacies in the Pigot's Clinic, and we're going to put one in the Barnes Hill Clinic so that pharmacy services will be extended to the people of those communities. I want to tell you this. We have a very young, vibrant group of panists who use my branch office to practice their craft. And I want to big up a young man. Well, he's not so young now. His name is Buddha. Lynchfield Brian, for his tenacity and his competence and his genuine love for the art form. Every afternoon he's down there training those young people in pan. And I, as a representative, when you give me that third term, we are going to continue to support Lynchfield and the Potter's Pan, Youth Pan. And one of the things I've said to Lynchfield, we are going to make sure that you have a band house in the third term of this government, a proper band house. I have supported Panache, another band that has come out of Potter's Village. Bobby Margetson, Robin Margetson, Wendell D'Souza and those boys, very talented. We supported them. And we're going to continue to support culture and the art form in this constituency. I want to tell you, we are going to continue to do the road works across this constituency. We are going to make sure that we put lighting, street lighting across Potter's community, Barnes Hill, New Winthrops, Carlisle, Powells, Cedar Valley Gardens, Painters, and Herberts. Because our women need to be safe in their communities and in their homes. So we are working with APUA and we are working with PDV to make sure that those lights go in. There's a massive project going on right now to light up all of our communities. You would have heard what Dr. Court is doing with the CCTV cameras. Well, in the villages, we have to make sure that our women, our men, and our children are safe. And so that program will continue. Just this week, we were able to put in 12 lights. And I want to big up all those guys from APUA. When I jump in the truck with them, they say, what? But you serious bad? Because I want to make sure that when Miss Brown down in Girls Town say, I need a light here, Jacqui, I not sending nobody I go in with the APOA truck by Miss Brown and say, put the light right there. That is representation. I want to just share with you a couple of things that we're going to do in the third term. In keeping with the Ministry of Education's policy of renaming schools after outstanding educators. I wonder who could be calling me. My phone vibrating in my back pocket. The Ministry of Education has a policy of renaming schools after outstanding educators. And in keeping with that policy, in my third term, we are going to rename Potter's Primary, Pigot's Primary, and New Winthrop's Primary after outstanding educators from those communities. In addition, that road that leads from Sir Sidney Walling Highway right over to Herbert's, right over to All Saints Road, we are going to rename the Potter's Main Road or Dairy Road after a distinguished Potonian, And that road I've been discussing with the local government department. We are going to rename that road the Sir Adolphus Freeland Drive. I tell you all, when I become the representative of this community, back in 2004, I represent everybody. I represent everybody. And one thing God has blessed me with is fairness. Fairness. And Sir Adolphus Freeland was the longest serving Labour minister in this country. And I think it is a fitting tribute in his honor that that drive be renamed Sir Adolphus Freeland Drive. We want to continue with the leveling, the regrassing, and the upgrading of the New Winthrop's playing field. You drive through New Winthrop's and you see the massive work we are doing in leveling that playing field. And I want to big up all of those young men who have been working on that project. That is going to be a first-class field when we're finished with it. Brothers and sisters, I don't want to go through the long list. What time is it? Because the Prime Minister has a very, very, very important message for all of us. But I want to tell you, all of the artists in this community, I will continue to sponsor every Soca Monarch finalist, every Calypso finalist who makes it into the finals of our carnival festivities, as I have done for the last 9 years. I didn't do it last year because I was sick. So that will continue. Brothers and sisters, you know, this time last year, I wasn't sure whether I would be running in this race. This time last year, I had doubts about whether I would be on this platform. Some people don't like to hear it, some of us too secular. But I want to say tonight, God has healed me. Your prayers have been answered. And I am back. I am back. I am back to serve the people of Potter. all of you. I love you. Thank you. Thank you. But I want you to understand. I want you to understand that he raised me up to serve him as well and to serve my country. And as long as Winston Baldwin Spencer is leading this team of candidates, Jacqui, Quinn, Leandro will be right there with the Honorable Prime Minister. But you the people must also serve him. And how do you serve him? By making sure that on election day, you do the right thing by Antigua and Barbuda. You have to make sure that you go out into every crevice of this community, every crevice of Antigua and Barbuda, and spread the powerful message of the United Progressive Party and tell them, Red Hands, stand back. Because if they think they're going to come back here to mash up Antigua and Barbuda, they have another thing coming. I want you to understand. I want you to understand 3 S's. We're going to keep Antigua and Barbuda in safe hands. I want to hear you, safe hands. You're going to keep Antigua and Barbuda in sane hands. And the final one, you're going to keep Antigua and Barbuda in sober hands. So let me hear you. Safe hands, sane hands, sober hands. Brothers and sisters, it's been a wonderful meeting. It's been a wonderful meeting. I love you, St. George's. I love you, Antigua and Barbuda. And I want you. I want you to understand. I want you to understand the mettle of Winston Baldwin Spencer. That is what you call a genuine man. He is what you call a sincere man. He is what you call a competent man. He is what you call a trustworthy person. And most of all, he's a godly man. He's a godly man. Brothers and sisters, before I came up here, a gentleman down there met me. He said, we're not standing for 12 seats. We're not looking for 13 seats. On election day, we're looking the United Progressive Party and the BPM in Barbuda, 17-0. You have to understand, people. You have to understand that we cannot go back to our vomit. We vomit them out in 2004, and we now go back there. But I want to say one thing. I have been hearing fighting fire with fire. But I want to tell you, one of the best ways to out that flame of the Antigua Labour Party is to fight fire with plenty water. Douse them. Out them. Because, my good book tells me, blessed are the peaceful, for they shall be called the sons and daughters of God. The best way to out the Labour Party flame is to make sure you go into every constituency and put in 110%. Make sure that every single candidate of the United Progressive Party is returned to office. Brothers and sisters, it's been a long night. I think this is the first time that we have had such a big crowd in Potters. And I want to tell you, I am very happy tonight. This is the home stretch. This is the home stretch. UPP now, more than ever. Three-peat. Because we all know leadership matters in Antigua and Barbuda. Good night, St. George's. I love you. Good night.
Yeah.